Sometimes it is the bare necessity. Forget about your worries and your strife by taking the Panthers' first round pick. Turns out to be the first overall pick. So, what I'm saying is the Chicago Bears and the Carolina Panthers are the real Jungle Book. Hey everybody, I'm Cortez, and I'm a critic, and we're talking about the Chicago Bears and their unique circumstances, and of course, what 2023 was. The Bears! The Bears! The Chicago Bears! One of many franchises that I just have a soft spot for, hoping they can bring success. Because one, I feel like the Chicago Bears is a team that has legacy, that has history, and I think they have one of the coolest logos in all sports, and that blue and the orange C. I'm not a big fan of the giant bear staring at you, but I will still represent the C of the Chicago Bears for multiple reasons. One, I don't have the money to buy a brand new hat. So, Chicago, a team that has the first overall pick thanks to the Carolina Panthers being idiots, and well, they went 7 and 10, and I thought they would be 7 and 10. Going to the season of the NFC North, I was thinking that, well, with the Vikings and the Packers and the Lions, I felt like those three teams were clearly the favorite to go forward. And with Justin Fields' future being so iffy and the prospect of Carolina giving up the first round pick by giving the Bears DJ Moore, and the Panthers, as the season went on, start looking like they're going to get the number one overall pick, which means Chicago had decisions to make moving forward. That even though the Bears did have a late season surge, show a sense of possibilities and finally, connecting, it was a little bit too little too late, and the Bears made the decision at the end for Fields to leave and the Bears to get Caleb Williams, which they did. Well, yeah, by the time of this recording, the draft hasn't happened yet, but we all know it's going to be Caleb Williams. If they don't, then boy, look forward to that Chicago Bear draft review later, because I'm going to have my head exploded with what? So, Chicago, I thought they were what they were. I didn't think they were anything special. I mean, it took a while for DJ Moore and the Bears to finally get clicking, and DJ Moore, I think, surpassed my own expectations because what DJ Moore did was so much inconsistency of the quarterback position. I just couldn't help but feel like, well, he did great, but the quarterback is now gone. So how much better can he be when you guys eventually get Caleb Williams? So let's take a deep dive into the Bears. And, well, since speaking about DJ Moore, let's talk about the best game, which the best game happens to be the game where he finally showed out, and that is Week 5 versus the Washington Commanders. Yes, the season was very early, but the Bears were 0-4. And Washington, even with Sam Howell, somehow seemed to be the much better team. I thought the Washington Commanders were going to beat Chicago because Chicago just couldn't get themselves in the right state of mind. So honestly, this game, I was thinking it was going to be an easy Washington win. Not a blowout win, but just Washington's going to win this game. Chicago's going to have more questions. The speculation of Justin Fields, and of course, at the time, the Panthers were still winless themselves. So there was a chance that Chicago, at the end of this weekend, could potentially have the number 1 and number 2 picks since both franchises were winless at the time. But Chicago Bears decided to say enough was enough. The first 4 weeks of the season were preseason. Let's start playing for real. And let's prove that DJ Moore was not a mistake and that DJ Moore was not just great in Carolina, but he's great in general. With a 40-20 domination of the Washington Commanders. And I think that 40-20 does not dictate on just how phenomenal the Bears were in this game. Very similar to what I said about Amari Cooper's performance with the Browns against the Texans, DJ Moore had his own coming out party with his new team, finding that both receivers were number 2 on their new teams. Funny. 8 receptions, 230 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And you may think, wow, that's a big day. But it gets even more surprising. Justin Fields threw for 282 yards. And like I said, DJ Moore had 230. That means Fields spread the ball with 52 yards. Justin Fields was 15 of 29. That means he had 7 other completions to other players that accumulate 52 yards. DJ Moore had half of Fields' completions. If that does not scream DJ Moore, this is just another example of the Panthers having another talented player and they let go. Christian McCaffrey, gone. DJ Moore, gone. Brian Burns, gone. The Panthers seem to be a great development team to develop great players, and for whatever reason, they go to another team and they succeed probably better than they were their team. What does that say about you, Carolina? What does that say about you in the entire organization? Like, you get these great players, but then they go somewhere else and they seem to not miss a step and sometimes even surpass what was potentially the expectations in your organization. That kind of feels like your ex-girlfriend going on with someone else and they're much happier than they ever were with you. But thank you for the experience to know what true happiness is. I guess I know I'm making it a little too personal, a little bit too sensitive to some. But this was the game to me that really felt that, okay, so Fields got his number one receiver, and look what it's done. So there was maybe even a small hope of the Bears looking like we thought. Fields was going to have his coming out party. A lot of people think that the Bears were going to make the playoffs this year. I was not that high on the Bears at all. I said 7-10 because I felt like the Vikings with Kirk Cousins and Jefferson, Packers because I feel like Jordan Love was going to thrive, and of course the Lions. That even if the Bears were at their full potential, it wouldn't be enough against those 3 juggernauts. And it kind of showcased at points that I was right, at least with the Bears and at least with the Packers and Lions, that they were just a little bit outmatched by their respective teams, and it just, things stayed the same they were. And that's a nice, clever segue to get to your worst game. And the worst game was because of effort. The worst game is the last game of the season, Week 18 versus the Green Bay Packers. Now, watching the game, there were moments you could feel that, okay, the Green Bay is not running away with it. There's a chance that Green Bay could be spoiled again like the Lions did the seasons past. Maybe the Bears probably already knew they had the number 1 pick, so I couldn't help but feel like if the Bears solidify the number 1 pick, then Fields need to be playing for potential new employment. So I was thinking, if the Bears don't like you, or the Bears are not going to keep you, or even that speculation you should think of, I thought Fields was going to show out. Was just going to go full throttle, show out, and obliterate the Packers, or at least be more competitive than it looked like on the field and on the statistics sheet, and be like, you may not want me, but someone else will. And I thought, we all thought it would be the Falcons. That was a big thing. Falcon. Funny enough, the quarterback that became the Falcons' new head coach, new quarterback, was from the NFC North. It just so happened to be the guy who had the torn ACL. Ain't that something? The guy who has a very serious deficit injury to a quarterback position gets more demand than the quarterback with a healthier leg, more athleticism, and more upside potentially athleticism-wise was not even considered a phone call chat. But 17-9, the game wasn't great. The Packers didn't really blow them out, even though Jordan Love did throw for 300-plus yards and 2 touchdowns. The game just felt a little bit like a slow doom for the Bears. It just felt like, Field, you should have known probably by the past 3 weeks that you're probably not going to be a Bear, give or take. Last year, that was the same speculation. We're going to keep Field. Now it's like, and we have the number 1 pick again. What are you going to do now? We're going to keep Fields? We're going to keep Fields? Nah. So I thought Field would have done everything in his power to showcase that if the Chicago don't want me, someone else will. So I thought, honestly, Field was going to have like 100 yards rushing and just wear his arm out. to just try to beat the Packers, to say, I ended my Chicago Bear career by beating Green Bay in Green Bay. Thank you very much. I guess I won't be back for whatever reason. But it didn't. And it just felt like I don't want to call a team that quits, but maybe the team just felt like, we don't want to hurt our draft position. Let's just go at 60%. I'm not saying they quit, but a 17-9 game, the Packers looked like they were trying to fight for, playoff pride going into it, even though they beat the Cowboys sensibly, which we'll talk about. Then we talk about the Packers. So to me, it just felt like, okay, don't hurt yourselves, I guess. So it was the worst game because it felt like the effort from Fields and the Bears just felt like, how much longer before the end of the game before I can start going on vacation? How much longer? They are literally watching the clock to leave. Your MVP, I'm giving it to DJ Moore. When I was working on this video, I was considering giving it to Justin Fields because I felt like with his resurgence. But looking back on it, DJ Moore did more outside than I give him credit for. So before recording, I did switch from Fields to DJ Moore, and I think I made the right decision. DJ Moore with a 96 reception, probably could have had 100 and a few more catches there, 8 touchdowns, but nearly 1,400 yards receiving. He did play all 17 games. He was by far, he nearly had double the amount of yards compared to the next one, which was Komet, the tight end. And with much of the criticism going to Justin Fields, that would probably more than likely, like I said, he's gone at the time of this recording. He's a Steeler now. That Justin Fields was going to be, a chance. DJ Moore brought into a potentially chance to help Justin Fields become it. And even though DJ Moore still thrive and Fields is no longer a Bear, I can't help but feel like you gave him the tools, and literally Justin Fields 2,500 yards passing to DJ Moore's 1,364, which I'm just going to round up to 14. Pretty much half of Justin Fields' passing yards belong to one man in DJ Moore. And he was the great bright spot on that team, the offensive side of the ball. There were some surprises, but also Justin Fields was the leading rusher, and that was only at 657. So it just felt like a lot of things outside of Field that you felt like, well, he's athletic, he's talented, he's young, but just didn't work. And DJ Moore did his job. There's a lot of receivers I'm picking as MVP of the team because depends on the quarterback play. If they do great, they're doing their jobs. They're doing their job. They're getting over and they're making 1,000-yard touchdowns. They're doing their jobs, and we need to acknowledge that. So DJ Moore is my MVP for the Bears. Grade, after all that praising, all that, Fields is gone. The season was off a bad start. There was effort there. I'm giving you guys a D. The defense was not. I thought the defense would be much better. I think it didn't really execute as well as they wanted to. I feel like they have a lot of great players. But for whatever reason, it's not meshing, which I think that goes to coaching. With the draft and having 2 first picks in the top 10, I mean, Caleb Williams more than likely. As for receiver-wise, but hopefully they might get a receiver there. It would be crazy if Brock Bowers is still there, or they go after Brock Bowers and go with the dual tight end set with Caleb. I mean, I don't know if that would be the way to go. There's a lot of opportunities for that. I feel like the Bears' future is very bright when it comes to the draft, especially when we all know they're going to get Caleb Williams. So we'll just wait and see what happens after that. But it's a D. Disappointment. Very, very down year compared to everyone else. But then again, I kind of expected them to have a 10-loss season, so not really disappointed, but just really down. Fields gone. The whole organization is going through a transition, so it's down. It's a D. And that's the Chicago Bears. So we're done with the Bear. Let's go to the team that I thought would be better, and they lost their quarterback, so they're probably looking for a quarterback too in the upcoming draft. We're going to talk about the Minnesota Vikings next time and see if the Purple People Eaters can return to a sense of acceptance and prominence now that the Packers and the Lions have taken the top 2 spot. So until next time, I'm Cortez, and I'm a critic. Thank you so very much for watching.